The recent near-unanimous votes in both the Senate and the House of Representatives to mandate the public release of the notorious Epstein files initially signaled a bipartisan commitment to transparency. This move, however, has been immediately overshadowed by significant doubts regarding the comprehensiveness and integrity of the forthcoming documents. The skepticism stems from the prior directive given to the Federal Bureau of Investigation to redact any content within the files that referenced former and now current President Donald Trump. This initial act of selective censorship raises serious questions about the possibility of a truly complete and unredacted release, suggesting the potential for an ongoing politically motivated cleansing of the official record. The pressure for the release mounted considerably following the public dissemination of emails originating from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, which reportedly contained information that further elaborated on the highly controversial and damning content within the classified files. In an uncharacteristic move, President Trump signed the Epstein Files Transparency Act. This action, while appearing to champion the cause of openness, was immediately met with political commentary, noting that the president already possessed the inherent executive authority to unilaterally release the files without requiring a legislative mandate from Congress. The signing was accompanied by a defiant announcement on the president's Truth Social platform, where he accused his political rivals of using the Epstein files issue as a calculated diversionary tactic designed to distract from the public from the achievements of his administration. His post was emphatic and accusatory. Perhaps the truth about these Democrats and their associations with Jeffrey Epstein will soon be revealed, because I have just signed the bill to release the Epstein files. This framing positions the document release less as an act of public accountability and more as a politically charged counterattack. Contrary to the impression that the redactions would diminish his connection to the scandal, President Trump is mentioned in the newly released emails over 1,000 times. The frequency of these mentions appears to be primarily driven by Jeffrey Epstein's intense fascination with Trump and his presidency, and more specifically, the self-professed and self-appointed role as a confidential Trump whisperer to various powerful associates and public figures. While the nature of these mentions is still being scrutinized, their sheer volume is a critical detail in assessing the full context of Epstein's network. Further fueling the skepticism surrounding a genuinely full and unredacted release is a parallel action taken by the president. Trump has publicly directed Pam Bondi and the Department of Justice to initiate prosecutions against specific Democrats who are reportedly named within the files. This preemptive announcement, made concurrent with the signing of the Transparency Act, has been widely interpreted as a clear and aggressive attack on his political rivals, casting the entire document release as a tactical political weapon. This series of actions provides concrete evidence that Donald Trump's central 2023 presidential campaign promises of retribution to his base was far more than mere provocative rhetoric. The months following his second inauguration have demonstrated a systematic and aggressive execution of this promise. In his initial 100 days back in office, President Trump has moved to target an extraordinary and unprecedented range of perceived opponents and organizations. This sweeping campaign of reprisal has extended to political adversaries, influential news organizations, former high-ranking government officials, major universities, international student protesters, and prominent law firms across the nation. In a particularly alarming escalation of this campaign, President Trump recently accused 6 Democratic members of Congress of the capital crime of sedition, controversially declaring the act to be punishable by death. This severe accusation was precipitated by the Democrats' public plea to military members to disregard any orders they deemed to be unlawful. While the president subsequently denied that he had explicitly threatened the execution of the 6 Democrats, he nevertheless maintained his hostile stance by asserting they were in serious trouble. This exchange highlights a critical tenet of federal law and military justice. Federal law explicitly mandates that members of the military cannot, under any circumstance, break the law, even if ordered to do so by a superior officer, including the commander-in-chief. The foundational oath of enlistment requires service members to obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me, according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. The inclusion of according to regulations and Uniform Code of Justice is the crucial limiting clause. Furthermore, the Uniform Code of Military Justice is an exhaustive legal framework containing numerous provisions that hold service personnel accountable for violating a wide spectrum of rules and regulations. This liability encompasses serious offenses such as burglary, murder, assault, rape, and property destruction. And critically, this liability remains absolute regardless of whether the action was directed or ordered by a superior officer. The obligation to follow lawful orders is paramount, and the duty to disobey unlawful orders is a fundamental principle embedded within the UCMJ and military ethos. Barack Obama said, "True leadership will not be measured by the ability to muzzle dissent or to intimidate and harass political opponents at home. The people of the world want change. They will not long tolerate those who are on the wrong side of history." Trump and his administration's almost constant attacks on anyone who opposes him places him and his supporters solidly on the wrong side of history, and history has a long memory. That's all for this week. Until next week, remember, your voice is vital. Stand up, speak out, strike back. They don't know what they started. If you appreciate this content, please like, share, and subscribe. For updates, ring the bell. Your support truly helps the channel.